Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie. Today is day 22 of the September series where I upload a video every single day. I didn't want to just do a reading vlog of reading one book because I am in that indecisive Gemini mood, but I still wanted to read. So I thought I would pick the most random books off of my shelf and try a little chapter in them just to see what I think. Now, when I say a random book, to me that means it's on my shelf, not because I watched someone recommend it in a video, not because it's from an author that I love or like a genre or any book that I've known. This was simply impulse decision. Oh my God. I have 10 books here that were completely impulsive and just random. I don't think I could even tell you what any of these books are about. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring each book up, read the flap, and then read 1 or 2 chapters, whichever is past 15 pages, and then give you a rating. Obviously, you can't rate a book just based on 15 pages. So I'll have 3 ratings, one based on how close I can get to the character just in that time frame, one on the writing style, because we have quite a few genres here, so that could be like creepy, or is it funny? Is it quirky? Etc., etc., etc. And then overall intrigue that I have to finish this book or complete it at some point. So yeah, we're gonna start with a YA book that I got based on this pretty cover. Bought this book randomly at Barnes & Noble because it had a collage on the front. Okay, this is about 3 girls in high school. One of them's popular, one of them's the brainiac, and one of them sounds like sporty. They all end up together because they're teamed up in a wellness class, and then they're targeted by this gossip website. So it's like all of the teen problems are probably gonna be in this book. Could be great, could be bad. Let's find out. All right, I read 22 pages of this. There's a little bit of mixed media at the beginning. There's like a blog post. Wait, are blogs still a thing? And like a student letter, a curriculum, and then 2 little chapters, one from each girl. There's 3 girls, so I didn't get to read one of the other girls. It's really just setting up where these girls are now. They don't seem to be friends, and setting up their sort of identity as a character. That's something I kind of find annoying in YA writing, where it's like, she is the sporty girl, she is the brainiac, she is the popular girl. Usually more modern YA, they like to kind of dissect that and turn that on its head. I'm sure that's gonna happen in this book. Basically, they're at this boarding school and they're doing shit. That's pretty much it. It sounds like there might be content warnings, so look into it if you have issues about eating disorders or possibly age gap, possibly dubious consent. I'm not really sure yet. Okay, into my ratings. We have character closeness. How close do I feel to the characters based on those 22 pages? I'd say pretty close. I think YA does a really good job of that, and I think this book did too, because it was really trying to zone in, who is this girl? What are her interests? What are her worries? So yeah, I'd say character closeness, I feel like a 4.5. Pretty strong. The writing style, it's fine. It's not bad. There are a couple like very angsty sort of YA writing in here. So like shit I would have ate up as a teenager. There's this one line where the brainiac girl, she's like a musician, and so she's looking at the viola player, like tuning her strings or whatever. And she says, I know she's thinking about sex. I can hear it in her eyes. Like it's that edgy kind of writing. Like, ooh, she meant to say, see it in her eyes, but she can hear it. Ooh. I was obsessed with that kind of writing back in the day. For now though, it is kind of comical, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's just like a 3.5. And then intrigue. The actual story progression, I am not really intrigued with, but I am intrigued too because I know that there are 3 girls. I want the 3rd girl's point of view, just so I can like be introduced to all of them. So I am very intrigued just to read another chapter. And they haven't even really met yet. They know of each other, but they're not friends yet. So I am kind of intrigued to see how their friendship comes about. But as for their individual plot lines, I really don't have much interest. So I think it's gonna be another 3.5 for that. Okay, one more YA. This one is called The Obsession. Boy meets girl, boy stalks girl, girl gets revenge by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This is a little less random because I did see it on TikTok. However, I did not listen to the girl recommending this book. I saw her hold up a book and I said, I got money to burn. I know you're judging me, and yes, I'm judging myself too. Oh, okay, so this is about a boy who is literally stalking the girl, except she has secrets of her own, deadly ones. So I guess it's just what the cover says. Boy meets girl, boy stalks girl, girl gets revenge. I'm only reading one chapter of this. It's 13 pages. Actually, it's more like 12 pages, so I'm kind of cheating. It looks like it's dual point of view, but the girl's point of view, which I'm more interested in, doesn't even come in until chapter 3, so that's kind of annoying. Anyway, let me read the first chapter. All right, I read my 13 pages, and I am weirdly intrigued. I mean, I feel like this could be very problematic. Obviously, he's stalking the girl. You know, it's funny, it's almost like Romeo. You know how Romeo was obsessed with, was it Rosalind? And then he saw Juliet and he was like, oh shit, let me just bounce over here. Our boy was obsessed with this woman named, or this girl named Sophie, but she's dead now. I wonder how she died. So there's that problematic of that's just gross, but I think they're going to address that because she obviously is, I think she is associated with Sophie somehow, but then he doesn't seem all right. He seems like there's something going on with him, like he needs some help mentally and emotionally from a therapist or a psychologist. And so I wonder if they're going to address that at all. I don't know. We'll see. And I say we'll see because I think I might read some more of this. Character closeness. I don't feel too close to the characters just because there is a sense of mystery in here. They're supposed to be withholding like information, so you can't get too close, but I feel very close to who this boy character is right now. So I'd say it's 3.5. I don't even know what would constitute a 5. Maybe like a huge backstory, I don't know. Writing style, I think it was really good. Like it had some YA angst. First of all, the dedication in this book, it says, to my husband Mike, who has always been there for me, but like in a non-stalkery way. I love that. So an example of the YA angsty writing. My summer had been spent in a haze of Netflix and scrolling through pictures of Sophie until inky night gave way to watery sunlight and my brain felt like it was about to dribble out of my ears. That's very like intense poetic angst. But at the same time, the writing is kind of revving things up. Like I feel it driving the plot or the story. I don't know. It was good. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 actually. And then my intrigue is also gonna be 4.5. I wanna know this girl's secrets. I want to hear from her point of view. I want to know what happened to Sophie. I want to know if this boy gets some help. Next is a thriller. We have We Could Be Beautiful by Swan Huntley. Only got it because it was on sale at a bookstore. All right, this is about a rich woman named Catherine, and she meets a guy, but he's not what he seems. He says that their families have known each other for a long time, but now she thinks he's lying, or that their family doesn't like him. I don't know what's going on. I think it's being vague for a reason. Wow, look at that. So I'm gonna read the first chapter. All right, I read 15 pages of this. It almost put me to sleep, not gonna lie. Not a good sign for a thriller, but the two characters met in the first chapter, and then we get a total info dump of this man's life. They're on their like first date and they're going over all of their information. It's too much information, honestly, and it's probably not even real. He's probably making it all up. So character closeness, I feel like I have a lot of information if it's even accurate for these characters, but even if it is accurate, it was said in a way that was so bland that I don't feel close to these characters at all. But again, it is sort of a thriller, so I kind of expect that. So I'm gonna go with a solid 3. Writing style, it's not bad. There was even a line that I really liked. When she first met him, she says, I remember thinking there's something about this guy. There's some kind of electricity between us. It was big, enormous, unavoidable. From the very beginning, it felt like a current pulling me blissfully toward a whirlpool. Before you drown, the spinning just feels like a dance. I thought that was pretty good. And I like it in books. I know some people don't like this. I like it when the narrator says, and I wish I knew back then what I knew now, or something like that, alluding to things going bad, because it kind of takes it into a storytelling position. Like now I'm thinking about the narration happening as if this main character is telling us about the past, you know, and I just kind of like that vibe more than this is happening in the present. So writing style, I'd give a 3.5. It was kind of boring, it was kind of a lot, but I thought it was well done. Intrigue is like 1 star. I feel like this could be the book where the plot twist is that there's no plot twist. Like he looks suspicious AF and then it turns out that he was telling the truth the whole time and she's just doubting herself. It's like a question of herself. I feel like it might be that kind of book. Either way, I don't think I'm gonna find out. I think I might unhaul this next time I do an unhaul, but it is very pretty and it's written, you know, written fine. Next, we have another thriller, last one, An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I feel like I've heard good things about this author combo, or maybe one or the other. Excuse me, I just hiccup. But I've never read them before. Again, it was just on sale. Okay, wait, I'm just gonna read the flap because it sounds like it's gonna be good. When Jessica Ferris signs up for a psychology study conducted by the mysterious Dr. Shields, she thinks all she'll have to do is answer a few questions, collect her money, and leave. But as the questions grow more and more intense and invasive, and the sessions become outings where Jess is told what to wear and how to act, oh God, she begins to feel as though Dr. Shields may know what she's thinking and what she's hiding. As Jess's paranoia grows, it becomes clear that she can no longer trust what in her life is real and what is one of Dr. Shields' manipulative experiments. Caught in a web of deceit and jealousy, Jess quickly learns that some obsessions can be deadly. This actually sounds so intriguing, so I will be back in a minute. Guys, I read 2 chapters, 15 pages, oh my gosh. The first chapter, our main characters, oh my God, what's her name? Is this upside down? So sorry. Jessica is a makeup artist and she overhears the girl she's doing makeup for about this questionnaire. And the second one, our point of view is this doctor. It's only 2 pages. He must be watching Jessica take this sort of survey on the computer screen. He says that she gasps and he's like, I know it's weird or invasive. Some subjects don't return. This test isn't for everyone. Maybe your instincts are telling you to leave without even starting. You wouldn't be the first, but you lift your hands at the keyboard again and you begin to type. It took all of me not to turn the page. So character closeness, it's a 0. And it's that way for a reason. Like, this is a thriller. We really know nothing. I feel like no, it's not a 0. It's probably a 2. We did get a little insight into Jessica. She is working hard for her money, trying to live the dream in New York City. She's close to her mom, but she also feels guilty, I don't know, for being so far away and not being successful in her mind. But that's all we see. We don't get too much, and that's very purposeful. Like, this is a thriller. And the doctor, literally no idea. Writing style, it's not my type of writing. It's in present tense, first person. So it's very much like this is happening right now. I sit down in the chair and I look at the screen. So it was a little jarring at first in Jessica's point of view because I thought at first it was like a diary entry, but no, it's just like an account of what's happening in the moment. I do have to say though, in the second chapter with the doctor watching, it was much more creepy because it was in first person present. So I guess I don't know. I think I'm gonna give it a 2.5 just because it's not my favorite type of writing style. No, I'm giving it a 3 because it did give me the creeps, the heebie-jeebies. The intrigue is a 5. It really is. I want to know what's on that screen. I want to know who this doctor is. I want to know if they're actually like with the school or is this some real just creepy shit going on. Next we have a memoir. I bought this several years ago. It's called You All Grow Up and Leave Me. The thing that got me is it says it's a memoir of teenage obsession. Back in I think 2017, 2018, I was obsessed with reading books about obsession. Not even in a fictional way, but as like just the thought of humans being obsessed by things. But I don't think I've ever read this flap. That's embarrassing. A riveting blend of true crime, I had no idea, and coming of age memoir, The Stranger Beside Me meets Prep. Oh, I do like that book. That presents an intimate and thought-provoking portrait of girlhood within Manhattan's exclusive private school scene in the early 1990s, and a thoughtful meditation on adolescent obsession and the vulnerability of youth. Oh shit. Okay, wait, let me read the rest of this flap because it looks like it might be a little intense. Piper Weiss was 14 years old when her middle-aged tennis coach, Gary Walensky, one of New York City's most prestigious private instructors, attempted to kidnap one of his teenage students. In the aftermath, authorities discovered that this well-known figure among the Upper East Side tennis crowd was actually a frightening child predator who had built a secret torture chamber, a cabin of horrors, in a secluded rental in the Adirondacks. I'm sorry, I can't say that. Before the shocking scandal broke, Piper had been thrilled to be one of Gary's girls. Grandpa Gary, as he was known amongst his students, was different from other adults. He treated Piper like a grown-up. Disgusting. Taking her to dinners, disgusting. Engaging in long, intimate conversations, and sending her special valentines. Ew. When reporters swarmed her private community, Piper learned that her mentor was a predator with a sordid history of child stalking and sexual fetish. But why did she still feel protective of Gary? And why was she disappointed that he hadn't chosen her? Now, 20 years later, Piper examines the event as both a teenage eyewitness and a dispassionate investigative reporter, hoping to understand and exercise the childhood memories that haunt her to this day. Combining research, interviews, and personal records, You All Grow Up and Leave Me explores the psychological manipulation of child predators, their ability to charm their way into seemingly protected worlds, and the far-reaching effects their actions have on those who trust them most. Oh gosh. So it's reminding me of, what is it, My Dark Vanessa and Notes on a Silencing. Is that what it is? Yeah, so right now, I don't even want to pick this up just because I'm not ready to read it about anything like that. But I'm gonna go ahead with the first chapter. It's only 15 pages long, and I want to see if I can handle it. Okay, I read 15 pages. There's a preface stating where this author got all this information. So part of it looks like it's from her point of view, obviously. Part of it seems like it might be print articles, television transcripts, documents written by Gary, but it looks like there's actually going to be a point of view from Gary, or not from his point of view, but like Gary did this day. And she says she gets all that information based on reporting, undocumented moments, chronologies, and conversations from the distant past based on her imperfect memory. So, wow, this is quite a way to write this. When I saw a memoir of teenage obsession, I just thought for some reason she was obsessed with like one of her classmates or something like that. I think there was another book that I purchased around this time that was kind of like that, so I must have just gotten these mixed up. But this sounds like it's going to be written so well. I'm obviously not going to be rating this based on like character or intrigue or writing style, because it's not fiction. If this kind of thing interests you, if you read Sex Cult Nun or, like I said, My Dark Vanessa, I feel like I don't hear anyone talking about this book, so maybe you should check it out. All right, guys, we're halfway there. It is getting a little dark, so forgive me as the light changes. Next, though, is Abroad, a novel by Katie Crouch. I picked this up one day in Barnes & Noble many, many years ago. I just like this cover. I thought it looked cool. I know smoking's not cool, but it still looks cool, okay? Let's not lie. Okay, so this looks like it's going to be dark academia. In the little blurb up here, it says, "Not since Donna Tartt's The Secret History has a novel this intoxicating captured the headiness and dark temptations of university life." Okay, it really is not giving us anything except for it's about modern girlhood full of longing and reckless behavior. It's about university students in Europe in this city called Griffonia. I actually don't know if that's real or not. I'm not educated. All right, guys, I read 17 pages of Abroad, and I feel like this might be a 4.5 or 5 star, just based on the 2 chapters that I read. So there were 2 chapters, and then in between them was a story from like 10 BC about someone in the Umbri tribe. I don't know if that's a Native American tribe. Sorry, I live on a military base. So we meet our main character. She's Irish and she's on a study abroad in Italy. She's just, getting her orientation on. She's found a house to rent or a room to rent in a house. And that's literally all that happened. But the writing was just, it's my kind of writing, I can tell. So the character closeness, I feel pretty close to our character, although I do not remember her name. Okay, her name's not even in the front flap, so I don't feel that bad. Her name is Taz, which is a very cool name. We can see that she is really polite, she's very obedient, she is meek as she describes herself. And I feel like that's always a character that's well, it's not an interesting character, but the interesting part about it is that she has so much to grow. So character closeness, I'm gonna give a 3.5. Definitely room to grow. The writing style, I'm gonna give it a 4.5, just because it's very dense with description. It's not even lyrical, it's just, I can't describe it. There's just so much detail in what's going on, but also tiny little reactions from our main character, giving us more of who she is and hints about what might happen. And also this has that thing I was talking about earlier about how there are certain points where the author is saying, or the narrator is saying, if I knew then what I knew now, maybe things would be different, that sort of thing. And there's this weird sort of gothic tone to it, where there might be some ghostly activity, or it could just be, this psychologically gripping tone. I'm very intrigued. So my intrigue is probably at a 5, just because the writing style really gripped me. My intrigue is a 5 for this one, but this is almost like an instantaneous sort of intrigue, like I just want to know what's going on. This one is like a slow burning intrigue that I feel like I could come back to this book and love it. But that's only after like 17 pages, so I should calm down. Okay, 4 to go. Jeez, I feel like this is probably a boring video now that I'm in the thick of it. But oh well, we're here. So next is, I guess this one isn't so random, but I guess it's not one that I've talked about or even have felt the need to reach for. I got A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. I bought this just because I saw the cover of the second one, the sequel. I just wanted that cover. So I bought the first one so that I could read it and have a reason to buy the second one. Benny is an aging former punk rocker and record executive. Sasha is a passionate, troubled young woman he employs. Yeah, there's not really much about this on here. Okay, wait, no, I think I'm gonna give this 5 stars. That's my prediction. Both of these have similar writing styles, except for this one is just creepy a little bit. There's this sort of impending sense of doom ahead, while this is just literary fiction. It's just talking about the lives of these people. So in chapter 1, I read 18 pages, and it's all about Sasha. Literally had nothing to do with music, just about how she lives in New York City. This, I think, is going to be pretty New York City centric. So if you like New York City books, maybe try to look into this one. The coolest thing about this is how it's written, in that Sasha is talking to her therapist about one evening of her life, but also we get sort of flashbacks to a couple other evenings. But it doesn't really stop. There's no like dash, there's no separation. It's all kind of mixed together. I really, really like that. So character closeness, I feel pretty close to Sasha. She's dealing with the disorder where you're compelled to steal things. What is that? Narcolepsy? No. Kleptomania. And I don't feel like I've read about a character with kleptomania in a very serious kind of in-depth look into their psyche, like from their therapist. Mostly it's just a side sort of thing, like Hannah in Pretty Little Liars. So that's really interesting because it's very sad, but she's sort of an it girl. So everyone, I don't know. I'm really liking it. And I think there is another point of view, Benny, Sasha's former boss. So yeah, the character closeness, just for the chapter that I read, is going to be like a 4.5. I feel like we got a lot of insight into Sasha. Writing style is going to be a 5. And intrigue is more like a 4. I'm mostly just intrigued because I know this writing style is so far up I hate saying up my alley, but it is. Ew. Okay, 3 more. We got The Vacationers by Emma Straub. This is random because I just randomly picked it up on sale. I have no idea what it's about, except I'm guessing some people are on vacation. What's interesting though is that I recently put all of my physically owned books on a shelf on Goodreads, and I was thinking about doing a video next month where I'd read like the highest rated book and the lowest rated book. This was the lowest rated book. But then when I was researching for a video I was going to do about books based on TV shows, this was compared to Modern Family. I love Modern Family, so I don't know if I'm gonna love this or hate this. Let's see what it's about. It's a story about a family, of the sides of ourselves that we choose to show and those we try to conceal, of the ways we tear each other down and build each other up again, and the bonds that ultimately hold us together. With wry humor and tremendous heart, it's a story of a family in the midst of a maelstrom of change, emerging irrevocably altered yet whole. Okay, I read the first chapter. It was actually only 13 pages, but sue me. Definitely not as warm as Modern Family, at least not yet. These characters aren't initially likable. Actually, they're kind of almost unlikable. At least the parents are. It's more like the family from The White Lotus, where they're privileged and kind of ignorant and therefore sort of annoying. But at the end, you want them to be like a happy, loving family. But the thing I randomly thought was interesting, first of all, they are a family that lives in New York City. And this is what? The 4th book that's like based in New York City? That's interesting. Actually though, they're going on vacation, didn't you know, to Mallorca in Spain. And just hearing that made me think of briefly A Delicious Life, which I read last month, where George Sand and Chopin go to Majorca. I think that's what it is. And guess what? I looked back to see the dedication, and there were a couple quotes, and the first one is from George Sand in Winter in Majorca. How fun is that? I don't know. That's just like a personal intrigue that I have in this. Characters, we don't know too much about these characters yet, but I feel like we got quite a lot just to see who they are personally, and I like the way that Emma Straub is doing it in very tiny little descriptions, not straight out, I'm like this. So yeah, there's a little insight into not some of the greatest parts of their personality. I feel like at the end, they're gonna all love each other and maybe someone will die. So for characters closeness, I'm gonna say a 3.5. For writing style, I really liked it. I think it's like a solid 4, maybe even a 4.5, just because of the subtle ways that we're getting insight into these characters. And then intrigue, you know what? I kind of am intrigued about this, mostly because there seems to be something going on with the daughter. I don't know if it's just her growing up or if something happened. I don't know. I'm a little bit intrigued to read this. Ow. I'm gonna say a 4. All right, guys, I have no idea how long this video is at this point. For me, it's been a couple hours, but we have 2 books left, and these are the least random of the books. I say that because this one is Landline by Rainbow Rowell. I have read this author before. However, when I picked this book up for $5, I picked it up because it was pink on the side and because it was $5. I had no idea. I did not even take in the name here. So in that way, it is randomly bought, but I've kept it not randomly. Let's find out what this is about. This might be like science fiction, a little slight fantasy. Okay, so a woman who has kids and a husband. It looks like her marriage might be falling apart, but she finds a way to communicate with her husband in the past. It's not time travel, not exactly, but she feels like she's been given an opportunity to fix her marriage before it starts. Intrigue. Guys, I really liked what I read of this. I read 2 chapters, 18 pages. Like I said, it's about a woman named Georgie. She's like a writer for a TV show or something like that, but it takes a lot of her time. She has 2 kids and a husband who seems to be pissed at her for working so much. And it is one of those situations where nobody sucks. It's just a situation that is sucking for everyone. She loves her job. She loves her kids. This was written in 2014, so women couldn't have it all back then. For character closeness, I'm going to give this a 4.5. I feel like we really got close to our character. We know what she cares about. We know she's conflicted. We know she loves her husband. We know she loves her kids. She's a good person. Writing style, I really enjoyed it. It's very simple, but it's good. It's just pretty standard. So 3.5. And then intrigue is weirdly high. I feel like this is a 4 level intrigue, maybe even 4.5, more than The Vacationers. And I want to know what this weird phone landline situation is gonna be. I want to understand what it is. And guys, we are at our last book, and this is the least random of the bunch. It is TJ Klune's Wolf Song. This is so heavy. This is not random because I read House on the Cerulean Sea by one TJ Klune, and I had seen that this was a book that he wrote, and I did buy it because of him. So no, it's not really random at all, except for that I haven't picked it up. I guess it's random because I don't know what it's about. I'm guessing werewolves? I don't know. Ox was 12 when his daddy taught him a very valuable lesson. He said that Ox wasn't worth anything. Oh shit, we're gonna get deep. And people would never understand him. Then he left. Oh shit. Ox was 16 when he met a boy on the road, a boy who talked and talked and talked. Ox found out later that the boy hadn't spoken in almost 2 years before that day, and that the boy belonged to a family who had moved into the house at the end of the lane. Ox was 17 when he found out the boy's secret, and it painted the world around him in colors of red and orange and violet, of alpha and beta and omega. Ox was 23 when murder came to town and tore a hole in his head and heart. The boy chased after the monster with revenge in his blood-red eyes, leaving Ox behind to pick up the pieces. It's been 3 years since that fateful day, and the boy is back, except now he's a man. Sexy, I'm sure. And Ox can no longer ignore the song that howls between them. Guys, we did it. We made it to the 10th and final book. My God, I didn't think this would take so long. Everything I said in the back happened. Wow, so cheery. Sense of character is strong. I'm giving a 5-star just because we got so much of Ox and so much of his past. Obviously, we skipped like 5 years in just 19 pages. I did have a squeal of warmth and delight because Ox's dad left and he was like a mechanic, and he had those shirts with his name on it, Clive. And so that's what Ox thought like being a man meant, was to have your own shirt with your own little name on it. And so at 12, he started working at his dad's garage when his dad left for this guy named Gordo. And when he turned 16, I think, they gave him his own little shirt. This is gonna be a writing style. It's very choppy. I feel like those 4 or 5 years did not go by smoothly. It's very chunky, but knowing that this is independently published or maybe even self-published, I don't know, taking that into consideration, it's very impressive. I'm gonna give it a 3-star because obviously the writing evoked emotion in me, although I feel like it was, yeah, like I said, kind of choppy. The intrigue level is like a 4.5 because I want to know what's going on. I know that there's going to be romance in here. I want to get to it. I want to know what's going on with these little paw prints. All right, guys, we are done. Jeez Louise. 10 books. Let me count how many pages I actually just read. Okay, so for my stats for today, for those of you that are new, during the September series where I upload a video every day, I'm checking how many pages I've read and how many books I've read. So today, all of these, I've only read 165 pages, which feels like a lot just for getting tiny little snippets of 10 different books. But at the same time, I feel like it took me just as long as if I had just read a little book. In total for the September series, I read 5,339 pages, and I think yesterday I got to book 16. I really do love try a chapter, but I don't think I'll ever do 10 again, just because that is a commitment. Although it does get me excited for so many books and in so many different genres that I have more options and I have more intrigue. If you're looking for inspiration or if you're feeling indecisive as a reader, then I definitely suggest doing this, although do it 3 to 5 books. Don't do 10. All right, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow.